Today we are going to install Windows using a USB drive. This is a clean installation of Windows, which should be fun because we can be able to skip the requirement where we need to have TPM 2.0. In this case, you will have to have Rufus. It's a software, open source software, which I made a video about somewhere. Something will pop up, so click on that video if you want to go and know how to download Rufus and mount Windows. So I'm not going to talk much. I'll just only explain the steps which are necessary when we are going to install Windows, both when you have TPM 2.0 and when you don't. Make sure you have Rufus, the latest version, because that's what we are going to use, and it's going to give us an option where we can be able to skip that requirement. Let's get to our PC and see how that will go. So here I have Rufus 3.20. This is the version I'm using as of today, 16th of August. Rufus 3.20 is the version that we are currently using. So what we're going to do here is step by step we mount Windows into a flash drive. I have one here. This is USB 3.0. 2.0 will also work, so make sure the minimum storage space you have here is 8 GB and above. Otherwise you might face some issues when you're installing, especially Windows 11. Actually, even Windows 10 you can't install with anything less than 8 GB. If you have USB 3.0 and above, the better, because the speed when you're installing will be higher. But if you don't have that, you can still use USB 2.0 so long as you have 8 GB of space and above. Let's plug it in and mount Windows here. Open the software. Yes, admin privileges, everything for you. Yes. Now for the device, make sure you choose the USB drive you are intending to mount Windows to, because you might have several USB drives in your system and you might choose the wrong one and end up destroying all the data in that USB drive. Make sure at least you know exactly the drive that you're going to mount your Windows to. Select the ISO image. So if you don't have the ISO image, somewhere here you'll get a card to how you download an ISO image from Windows official website. Go do that and then come with an ISO. Make sure you have Rufus also, then we proceed from there. So this is where my Windows 11 is. It's the first option. I click on Windows 11, then I click on open. Now it has loaded. Something else very important, you need to understand the partition scheme of your hard drive. Mine is GPT. I'm okay with that. Maybe yours might be MBR. Make sure you understand and you select the partition scheme here. If, for example, yours is a GPT format and you decide to go with MBR, you are going to face an issue during the later installation stages of your Windows. When we get to that point, I'm going to show you how you can be able to maneuver around them and install your Windows normally. But for you to avoid those issues, make sure you select the right partition scheme. So mine is GPT. I will leave it as is. And target system is non-CMS. You can leave everything else as is, but maybe you might decide to change the label name if you want to. I'm not planning to do that. The file system you might change, but leave it as NTFS. If you want to see maybe the logs when we are mounting Windows, then you can click on this thing here. But I'm ready to go, so I click on start. And this is the point where now, if you know that you don't have TPM module, that is TPM 2.0 and above for Windows 11, this is where you bypass that requirement. Mine has it, so I don't need to actually bypass that thing, no. But for you, if yours doesn't have, this is where you're going to actually escape that thing. So when you're installing Windows, this is the advantage of Rufus. Is now first things, the first option, you can remove requirement for the installation, that is the TPM and the 4 GB RAM and whatnot. You can also disable data collection, like the privacy questions. You can skip them totally. You can set a local account using the same name as the users, this user. And also you can set regional options using the same values as these users. For these 3 unchecked options, Rufus will collect data from the machine you're using to install Windows, and it will translate it into now the ISO that you are going to install in the new machine. I don't know whether that makes any sense. We can now proceed to stop the stories, and then we click on OK because I want to remove the requirement. In my case, I don't actually need to do that, but then let's do that because I have the TPM module. So I click on OK, and that was the notification to warn me that I'm going to lose data in that USB drive. So for you, make sure that you have everything backed up. If you have important data in that USB drive, make sure you back it up, because it's actually going to format the whole USB drive, so you're going to lose everything. So make sure at least if you have anything important there, grab it and keep it somewhere safe. I also made a video on how you can recover data if you happen to have deleted your information or maybe your files. So I'll put a card or a link somewhere up there on how you can be able to recover data from a formatted USB drive, or if you delete something from USB drive, how you can be able to recover those files. Go check it out and see how maybe that will help you if you happen to have lost anything. So right now we're going to wait until we are done mounting, and now it's copying. So remember, we said that if you want to see the logs of exactly what's happening in the background, you can click on this thing. It shows the log. So this is what exactly is happening to that USB drive. You can actually even copy the logs and save them somewhere for maybe troubleshooting if you're having errors, or just for references. So you're done. Now we have the USB drive ready. We can click on close because we are now done, and then we eject the USB drive and continue with the clean installation. So this is where things start now to differ depending on the machine that you're using. I'm using HP, so I know F9 should take me to boot menu, and that's where I'm going to select the USB drive which has Windows in it. Now Dell and maybe Toshiba and every other, they are different from HP. You go and figure out the key that takes you to the boot menu, or the one that takes you to BIOS, where you can go and select the boot order. So I'm going to turn off my PC, and then we're going to get to BIOS, and from BIOS we will be able now to proceed into installing our Windows. I'm not going to install Windows in this PC because it has most of the data and things that I want to keep, but I'm going to change the SSD in this machine so that we install Windows here. And right alone, I'm going to actually, after installing Windows here, I'm going to install Kali Linux also in the same, and I'm also going to install both Kali Linux and Windows in the same as a dual boot. Make sure you turn on the notification bell on so that you get to see this fast. Okay, so I'm going to go to my PC and remove the SSD and put a new one. So I'll plug in a USB drive in the USB port like that, and then power on the machine and boot to BIOS, and then we are going to select the boot device. I am going to turn on the PC, press on escape, and we're going to get a nasty notification. They are there. So we are now in the startup menu. So I press on F9, which is the boot menu. F9. Now these are the devices that we have. So the first one is the USB drive that we have here already. So I'll just hit on enter. And now we get to the installation part. So here you get to select the language, the time and the currency format, the keyboard or the input method. Because I have everything as they should be, then I click on next, and then I click on install now. Give it time because it's trying to start up the setup, and then we accept the license terms. Click on next, and this is a very important point during the installation. Because we are doing a clean installation, we just click on custom, install Windows only. That is the advanced point. This is now the second option. The first option, that is just upgrading Windows, this is what we did in a previous video. So we click on install Windows only. This is the advanced option. This is the second option. Click on it, and you can see we have this our SSD drive here. So remember, we said that maybe you might have mounted your USB drive with Windows in a GPT partition scheme, and your system only, or your hard drive only recognizes the MBR. If you want to resolve that using the hardcore method, you lose all the data, you highlight all the partitions, and you delete them. You delete all the partitions until you are just only left with one partition with unallocated space, or you just delete one of the partitions which has the enough capacity to hold the OS that you want to install, and then you click on it, then you proceed. That way you'll be able to manage that. Otherwise you'll have to go back and mount Windows again in the preferred partition scheme. I'll just click on next. You can see we couldn't create a new partition or locate an existing one. For more information, see that. So it's usually very important for you to delete the partition that you want to install Windows to, or you just format. And that's why you are getting this error. Let me try to zoom in. So the error is we couldn't create a new partition or locate an existing one. For more information, see the setup log files. Now, for us to resolve that, you just click on delete. You just delete the partition. Actually, I don't need anything there, so I'll just delete. But for you, if you have something important, make sure you first of all make a copy or a backup of the data that you don't want to lose from that drive, and then when you get to a point like this, then you don't have anything to worry about. So I click on OK, and it's now deleted. So if I just highlight on it and then click on next, we are going directly to starting now installing the Windows. We are now copying files, getting ready for installation. It will this will go to up to 100% for us now to start installing the features, and now I'm installing the updates, and then we finish up. The speed of the USB drive you're using to mount your Windows with will also determine how fast or slow your installation will be. For me, I'm using a USB drive. I have a Core i7 8th gen laptop here, USB 3.0. I'm using an SSD 512 GB. So I think we are covered. It should be quite fast. Like you can see, we are almost now hitting 100. So we are now restarting. So now we are done with the installation, and whatever is left now will be just a normal setup. And we are there. So this is Windows 11 with all the glory. So the next video that I'm going to do will be installation of Kali Linux step by step. I would highly suggest you go watch a video I did a while back on cleaning of a USB drive which you've mounted Windows into, and also check a video I did on how you can mount Windows onto a USB drive. Okay, there you go.